Hello, everybody. What's up? How you doing? What are we? Is it? What day are we on? Is it Tuesday? Are we on Wednesday? Since I guessed. Now, I put Sarah Boone possibly testifies, and then I woke up this morning and guess what? Sarah Boone was testifying, and I got a message from everybody. So I just changed the title. Sarah Boone testifies. Autopsy broken down. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Yesterday I did this thumbnail and I heard that Sarah Boone might testify. And then lo and behold, she did. So I never changed the topic. Taco Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, the classic one. Thank you, Rosie, so much for your 99-cent. Oh, I froze. 1 second, y'all. Sorry about that. I froze. Thank you so much for the 99-cent super sticker. I'm here, y'all. I'm here. I'm frozen. Yeah, the trolls think they're hilarious. They got to create an alternate account and say, Sarah Boone did testify. Meanwhile, your thing says Sarah Boone may testify. So yeah, those trolls are going to be around for a while, folks. But we're going to pay attention to the lovely people here. And as you come in, hit the like button. And let's have fun chatting. Yeah, freeze frame. Exactly, Marilyn. What's up? Got a freeze frame. The internet is busted today. It's busted because of Sarah Boone. My head's kind of busted because of Sarah Boone, too. So I do have highlights. But first, let's just watch before we get into it. Because all day I was thinking, can they cut back to that suitcase? We want the train, the money train, of course. We know Foxy Amazon's here, and Foxy Amazon will probably gift a membership at 420, maybe. If not, somebody else will. So thank you guys. Yeah. Trolls keep trolling around. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They must be bored. I was talking with my buddy at work earlier, and you guys know, some of you know I'm a mechanical COO of a mechanical engineering company, and this guy's like a genius CAD trainer. And he says, man, what's wrong with those people? Like, do they really have nothing better to do than to sit there and make these posts and do this Reddit stuff? And I'm like, yeah, they actually do. So, we have a job, we work all day, and we have other stuff to do. And then I got to come on here and hang out with my crime crew. So, no worries about that. But before we get into that, I'm going to take you way back. And the reason I'm going to take you way back is because all day long, I kept thinking, right when Sarah Boone testified, I kept thinking, I need to see this video again. I need to see it. So I'm probably going to play it. And then I'm going to do the autopsy, a quick 11-minute autopsy deep dive. And then we're going to start watching Sarah Boone testify. We're going to watch the lovely highlights of it, and we'll see how far we get. Because if you watch this today, the freaking cross-examination was horrible. Did anyone else watch the cross-examination? Horrible. Oh, what happened? Hi, JC. My favorite Randy B. I'm so sorry if I'm freezing right now, y'all. My computer's downloading some stuff, so let's get into it while I finish downloading. I hope it works.
Sarah. For everything you've done to me. Sarah. For everything you've done to me. Sarah. Fuck you. Sarah. Fuck you. Sarah. Stupid. Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it out. Sarah. I can't fucking breathe, babe. Seriously. Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me. Sarah. 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 Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
Now, remember, not only did she still want to marry him, folks, but she said they were soulmates. She said they were one soul put together. Oh, I just can't even. Yeah, this is evil. But when she goes on the stand, she acts like like she acts like she's this meek little girl. She says, I don't know, maybe like just this meek little person. Cross was a huge letdown. But yeah, I think Synth said something right. I think I think her being a huge letdown is because they let her hang herself. All right. And trolls, if you're in here, goodbye. I'm gonna if you're testing out the waters, I'm about to kick you out. I want to focus on people like Rosie that want that train. Choo choo. We want that train, and we want to talk about soulmates. Here's her soulmate right here in this suitcase that's flipped over.
That's on you.
Warning.
Sarah, I can't breathe. It's on you. Sarah. Real or ransom. Might want to get video for it extra. Because I got this. Sarah. Real or ransom. Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe. Oh.
Julie Smith, huh?
That's what Sarah. I feel like when you ching on me.
Sarah.
Fuck you.
Breathe, Sarah.
Yeah. You should probably shut the fuck up.
Sarah. All right. So you guys want to know how she got him in there. Well, that's big. You guys want to know how she got him in there? That's why we're listening today. Yeah, Tom Henniker, he's literally dying. Do me a favor, y'all. You know why we're here together to get justice for George. So I didn't buy it. I did not buy her story. And you know why I didn't buy her story? Is because I remember this so well that that's why I needed to play that suitcase again, because every time I was listening to her, I kept remembering that suitcase scene in my head and thinking, no way. If you think about that scene in your head, you won't feel bad for her. What's up, Bridget Smelter? Do me a favor, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, y'all. And, super chat, super stickers, all that fun stuff. Thank you. So, yeah, she does claim he zipped himself in there, and we're going to listen to the highlights from it. So, let's quickly watch the medical examiner describing Jorge's autopsy photos. Now, they're not going to trigger warning to you guys if you feel like you can't listen to this, but we do need to share this part. I think it's very important that we know what she did to him before we hear her testify. We need to know what the medical examiner says happened to Jorge or George. I'm sorry. They called him Jorge at first. Now she says she hit him with a bat. She never said she hit him with a bat until trial started. So let's go.
Photo 1 from State's Composite. Tell us, what is this a photo of?
So this is an identification photo that's basically just showing from about the level of the collarbones up.
And this is Jorge Torres?
Yes.
Did you note any signs of injury in this photo?
Yes. So there's some ecchymoses around the left eye. This picture is a little bit hard to see, but I think there's another one coming up. There's also an area of ecchymoses up here on the left side of the forehead with also some swelling associated with that. The lips have some contusions and small lacerations. And then on the left shoulder here, you can see a little bit of some ecchymoses here, or again, ecchymoses are kind of like big bruises.
Well, just everybody know that George is his name now. I used to call him Jorge, and everybody calls him George now. So it did start out as Jorge, and I've been following the suitcase trial for a long time before it was even a trial. So I just want you to know that they started calling him George after like the first 6 months. So, and sorry if I freeze, I'm kind of downloading some stuff right now, but you guys need to hear what the medical examiner says. And then we're going to listen to her talking about poking the bat. She pokes him with the bat, but then another time when she hits him with the bat, it's crazy. We're not going to listen to 3 hours of testimony, but we are going to listen to highlights. All right. And you're going to get a good idea before we get into it what happened. So 111, say a prayer that we get complete and utter justice for George and that the jury sees through this lady. Crazy, loony, boony.
Turning to photo 2 from State's composite. What are we looking at in this photograph?
So this is his right arm near the elbow. And right here, you can see this kind of darker area. So this looks similar to an abrasion, but it's actually, it's what's called drying artifact. And again, this is one of the reasons that I think that he was in that suitcase for a little bit longer. Most likely that was a pressure point where part of that suitcase was.
All right, now pay attention and listen up, because if you feel bad for her at any point when I start going on and playing her testimony, think again and remember George. Remember how small he is. Remember the bruises. Remember how long he stayed in there with no air. And remember him saying, "Come on, Sarah, let me out." He wasn't yelling at her or threatening her at that point. And she was filming him. That would have been the time to film him, when he was threatening her and she didn't. Let me hit this. I might have to go grab my dogs, but let me hit play while I do this. They're barking.
Resting on his elbow in that area. And then after death, that tissue dries out. And that's the discoloration that you're seeing there.
Another thing is she never said she was drunk. So being drunk is not a defense. Actually, it's actually not a defense because she never said she was drunk. She always maintained that she only drank a little bit. She was all good. Her story changes to a complete, what is it, a 180. It's completely opposite of what it was. And then she admits to lying.
Turning to States 3 from the composite.
So here you can see a little bit better. I don't know if you can get a feeling for this, but this area is what we call edema or swelling. So this whole area is edema. It's a little bit discolored, so ecchymosis. And then again, really at the corner of the eye here, you can see that darker discoloration. And so those are injuries from blunt force trauma.
States 4 from the composite.
So this is the left shoulder and arm. So again, you can see this kind of red to purple area. So this is all ecchymosis, and then a couple of linear abrasions or scratches.
States 5 from the composite.
This is the same area, just a little bit closer up, so you can see this whole area of ecchymosis. It's a little bit variegated, differential in color, but again, that's all blunt force trauma.
And what part of the body is this we're looking at?
This is the left shoulder.
States 6 from the composite.
That's the same area, but in this picture, we have a scale or the ruler.
And Why do we use scales and rulers?
That's just to give an idea of how big the area is or how large the injury is.
Come on.
States 7 from the composite.
So this is the left forearm and hand. And you can see the area right here that's a little bit red to purple. And then also right here on the left hand, right here, right here. Those are all areas of ecchymosis, again, blunt force trauma.
States 8 from the composite.
Again, the left arm. Just from a little bit of a different angle, so you can see, and a little bit with the elbow too here, but you can see all these areas, ecchymosis.
States 9 from the composite.
And now looking at the left hand, a little bit closer up, so you can kind of see a little bit better these areas of ecchymosis.
And we're about halfway through this. We're not playing the whole, 40 minutes or whatever she was on the stand, but we're going to get some good highlights for you. I'm going to start off with her admitting that she hit him with the bat. This is the first time we ever heard him say that. Many people watch this today and listen to it, so they're on overload. There's lots of trials going on, but I do appreciate that you guys are here. Hopefully after this trial, they do an escape mechanism on a suitcase, because you know how many suitcase trials there are now? I could probably dig up at least 3 major suitcase trials. So yeah, hopefully they come up with the new escape mechanism. Let me go grab my dog. He's bugging me.
States 10 from the composite.
And again, the left hand just closer up.
What are you working at?
States 11 from the composite.
So now we're looking at the back, and you can see that there are these linear abrasions in the mid-back.
Are those scratch marks for?
They could be scratch marks. They could also be blunt impact, more of just a straight-on blunt impact, especially being in that suitcase if there are objects in there.
What is the discoloration that we see around his shoulders and then and some other spots on his back?
Sure. So you're talking about this area?
Yes.
So that's called livor mortis or lividity. And that's one of the changes that we see again after death. And basically what that is it's postmortem after death, settling of blood in the blood vessels. And so it's dependent on gravity and it's dependent on the person's position. So what I mean by that is we're seeing it on his back because after the time of death, at some point in time, he was more positioned on his back. And the areas that are lighter, that's because for a couple of reasons. It could be the position of the body, meaning that it's not in the gravity dependent position, or there could be something pressing on it. So either one of those.
Stage 12.
Look at what happened. My potato fell apart.
So those are those linear abrasions just shown a little bit closer up.
Stage 13 from the composite.
And the same, but with a scale.
Stage 14 from the composite.
Yeah.
So now you're seeing the left side of his back and also the back of his left arm. And you can see these areas here of ecchymosis, and these are a lot darker than some of the others that we've seen. One of the things that I did is...
All right, now I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but I hope it's giving you a good idea. And again, trigger warning for the rest of it, because there's sometimes that it's just, it's sad and ridiculous and the lies are outrageous. But don't worry, Sarah Boone doesn't cuss. She says, is it okay to curse? She makes sure she asks us if she can curse. So don't worry. You don't know a lot about the case. 8 attorneys dismissed her, and you'll see why. It's a suitcase trial. She put her boyfriend in a suitcase and left him there. And there are autopsy photos she's explaining.
I looked underneath the skin in these areas because they're so much darker and so much more dense. So I wanted to see if there was injury of the deeper tissues. So these areas are associated with hemorrhage or bleeding into the skeletal muscle, so the deeper tissues. And so that's just indicating more force applied to that area.
And when you did your internal exam, did you examine this area, and did that inform your findings?
Yes.
States 15 from the composite.
And that's showing those areas a little bit closer up. So you can see that they're much more dense. There's at least 3 distinct areas here. There could be more than 3 impacts, but there's at least 3 separate ones that can be seen.
States 16 from the composite.
This is just showing the upper back and the back of the neck. We've got a linear abrasion right here on the back of the neck, and these were the ones shown in the earlier pictures.
Yep.
And states 17 from the composite.
And this is just showing the same area of the back and the back of the arm, but just at a different angle.
Hey, Princess Mish, good to see you. Everybody, as you roll in, there's 135 people watching and chatting. Do hit the like button for me, and I appreciate all of my chatters that are also modding. So thank you. I know everyone's tired today, but we're about to get into Sarah's lies.
So we've discussed and seen evidence of many different injuries. In total, how many blunt impact injuries did you identify?
I can't give you an exact number. Again, you can have multiple impacts in a very close area. So it can be hard to discern each one. They can overlay each other, or they can be so close to each other. But at least, 5 to 6, most likely more than that.
And when you were going through your body chart as well, and I guess.
Now remember, she said at least 5 to 6 blunt force trauma injuries. You can't really tell, but all of us literally thought that this whole time, almost 5 years, we bought into the narrative that she put them in the suitcase because they were playing hide and seek, right? I'm not saying we bought it, but that's what Sarah told us. She said they're playing hide and seek. They had a lovely day. He went in there and he hid. We saw the video and nothing happened. He hid. She went to sleep, and we thought because she was drunk, and that was it. Now we come to find out a bat. He has blunt force trauma. He's around this big, and we just saw an autopsy photo of him. Absolutely heartbreaking and disgusting at the same time what happened. Yeah, justice for George, absolutely.
We also saw some of it photographically. As you also mentioned impact to the left side of the head.
Yes.
We're going to get into that.
I believe that was subgaleal.
Subgaleal. So kind of similar to what I was describing on the back. I looked at the underside of the scalp. And so in those areas on the left side of his forehead where there was the edema, when we reflect or we fold the scalp over, there was hemorrhage or bleeding that went through the entire scalp and was deposited on the skull. There was no associated skull fracture, and there was no bleeding inside of the skull, but it was all in the scalp and deposited on the outer surface of the skull.
So under the skin, but not under the skull.
Correct.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you.
All right, so that gave you a good idea of kind of what the injuries were, everybody. I didn't play the full thing because I didn't think it was necessary, but I'm not going to start out with Sarah admitting to hit George with a baseball bat. We're going to kind of move around. I got the highlights for you. I'm not going to sit here for 3 hours today, but I will show you good highlights and good clips from today. So let's listen up together.
We continue to, I guess, speak to one another, and his tone changed, and I knew the tone, and we ended up, I guess, arguing back and forth with one another, and it was the things that he was saying very much frightened me, and cursing at me and threatening me.
Now, pay attention how she says she's frightened, and she talks about everything with zero emotion, but she also talks about how threatened and how scared and how worried and how anxious she was. All right. So now, of course, George isn't perfect. Nobody is. But did he deserve this? And did he deserve to beg for his life? We're going to start with the hitting victim with the baseball bat, her admitting that. And we'll, like I said, we're going to move around a bit.
And
Did he want you to let him out of the suitcase?
I'm sure so.
Okay. Go ahead, tell me.
And it got very heated very quickly, and he continued to push on the suitcase. And my fear was that he was going to break out of the suitcase, knowing that it was a broken suitcase. And his hand started to come through. His hand started to come through this way. And
Right.
so I shook the suitcase. Trying to get his hand to go back in, shaking it, and telling him that, please stop doing this. Please stop doing this to me. Please stop doing this to me.
So his hand actually got out of the suitcase,
Yes.
and you went to the suitcase
Yes.
and shook it.
Yes.
Did that force his hand to go back in?
No.
So you're shaking it. Were you shaking it to try to get the suitcase, his hand back in?
Yes.
How long did you shake it?
I don't know.
But his hand was still out.
Yes.
Was he trying to get out?
Forcefully, yes.
Was he angry at you?
Yes.
I feel this is very rehearsed, everybody, and I believe now that listening to the small portion of the autopsy report that she was saying that she was shaking it the way that she did was to justify the bruising in the head, the bruising on the arm. She's trying to say that she shook it and that's what happened rather than her throwing him down the stairs or pushing him down the stairs like the neighbors said they heard. That's what I believe happened. I do believe that she hit him with the bat. I believe she pushed him down the stairs. That's just my opinion. And yeah, it's very rehearsed. She looks very mad. And hello, Kama Halani. Good to see you.
Were you in fear?
Always.
If he would have gotten out of the suitcase, what would he have done to you?
Like he used to tell me, he probably would have made me unrecognizable, or I would have lost my life.
Did you lose the grip on the suitcase?
Yes.
Where was the bat in relation to the suitcase?
It was leaning up against the dining room table right there.
How far was the bat from the suitcase?
3 feet, 2 feet.
Was his hand still out of the suitcase?
Yes.
And was he getting out of the suitcase?
He very much was trying, yes.
And so what did you do?
For the split second reaction that I had, I happened to see that, and I grabbed the baseball bat and was trying to poke his hand to go back in to please don't break through, please. So I hit his hand.
Did you hit the outside part of his hand?
Yes.
We've seen the photographs of his left hand. Did you cause the bruising there?
I'm guessing yes.
Now, you've seen the bat. It's a used bat.
Yes, I bought it for my son.
Is this the bat you used?
Yes.
And you said you poked him with it?
Yes, I kind of pushed, like I held it with the skinny part here and then
So the grip here,
prodded at it. Yes.
You grabbed it with both hands here,
Yes,
and then the barrel of the bat, the big part of the bat is here.
correct.
And you thrusted it into the different areas of the suitcase?
I started with his hand, and his hand, he was still trying to get out. He was still trying to do that. So I started to push on the suitcase around it, hoping to have his hand retract and go back inside.
You made those injuries.
I did,
We've seen the photographs.
yes.
We see the bruising.
Look at her jowls, everybody. I rarely use that word jowls, but when it comes to Sarah Boone, she has jowls. And yeah, it looked like she was hitting it and poking at it. Now she's trying to explain the bat injuries. Yeah, whatever, Sarah. You've lied the entire time. Let's continue watching her lie. I really wanted to play this first so you can see and get a sense, because in the next clip, we're going to see what he supposedly did to her. I know it's battered spouse syndrome, but she goes way back. And thank you, Rosie. I know you're trying to get the 99-cent super sticker train. So if anybody can help, I do appreciate it. I know that Halloween's coming and we got a lot of expenses. So, if you guys can do anything, gift membership, super chat, super stickers, it helps. That this channel is fan funded, and we're getting ready to come out with a website real soon. Yeah, she's definitely got jowls, folks. I've got jowls. That's what Sue says. I don't use that often. All right.
Is that from that bat?
Yes,
Eventually, did his hand go back inside from you doing?
yes. Finally, he had subsided and retracted his hand.
So in your mind, did you prevent him from attacking you?
Absolutely. Split-second decision.
Now, once he retracted his hand, do you remember zipping it up some, or what did you do in relation? Because he was upside down, was he not, at that point?
Yes,
At some point, you flipped him back up.
I did.
Tell how that happened.
He wasn't cursing. He wasn't threatening. His hand was inside foremost. There was no more of him trying to break through the suitcase. So I felt safe enough to turn it back over. It wasn't happening anymore.
You went back to the video and the couch,
I did, yes.
and we saw the second video,
Yes,
the 22-second, and he's right side up again,
yes,
and you hear him say, Sarah,
yes.
had you left enough room for him to get out? Zipper to zipper.
Yes, that's how his hand was trying.
That suitcase has two zippers, doesn't it? And they meet at various places along the line?
Correct.
I know you guys have been here all day probably watching, so I appreciate you chatting with me and being here. I agree that he wasn't threatening. I am going to play next the part where they show the pictures and she talks about him threatening, but I want you to get your deception detective hat on and see all of the lies that she's telling verbally. And I'm pretty sure deception detective is going to come out with a video that goes over this. There's no way he can't, because she lies so much. Yeah, I've been vaping all day too and just drinking caffeine. I'm so nervous about this case. I want her to be found guilty. Thank you, Rosie. I appreciate you all. You guys are amazing. Thank you, Sue.
How much room, when you flipped it over, how much room was between zipper to zipper?
I don't know specifically. I mean, it was enough to where his hand was coming out.
After you had hit him with the bat, was he not trying to get out anymore?
No,
Did you believe that he could breathe in there?
yes,
Did you ever believe he could die in there?
no, at all.
Were you trying to kill him?
Never.
Did you want to kill him?
I did not.
Did you walk upstairs?
I did, yes.
Why didn't you let him out before you walked upstairs? Were you afraid?
Terrified is more of the word.
As long as he was in the suitcase, he couldn't harm you.
She almost made me spit, y'all. She said terrified. Oh, man. Oh, that was not, she did not look terrified in that, y'all. She did not look terrified. And thank you. Marilyn Reese's birthday is October 29th. She's my little Scorpio. And my son's birthday is October 26th, this Saturday. I literally almost spit right now. Foxy Amazon, thank you so much for gifting One Guilty of Crime membership. I cannot wait until this Friday when we do a members only, y'all. We're going to have an awesome members only. So let's make that members only amazing. We get to ask whatever questions we want to each other. You guys can ask me questions, I can ask you, and we can talk about whatever the heck we want to. Yes, verbal diarrhea, a lot, hide and seek, absolutely. Almost spit.
Correct.
When he's did you want him to calm down?
Yes, I wanted him to stop being angry because I know what it is for him to be angry.
You went upstairs. Where were the dogs?
The dogs ran upstairs with me.
And where did they go?
On the bed.
Did you have the phone with you?
Yes,
I know at some point you called your husband, Brian, did you not?
I did.
Do you recall how long that conversation was?
Not very long.
Can you recall what was said?
I don't remember exactly. No, I don't.
Now, pay attention how many times she doesn't remember what happened when it pertains to her and getting her off. And then when it pertains to not help, when it pertains to helping her, she remembers exactly. She remembers what they had for dinner, what they ate, what she made, what leftovers there are, what her son did, what her husband did. But then when she knows that it's going to be used against the things that she's lied about, she doesn't remember, especially in a cross-examination, which I don't know if we'll get to that. It depends how many people are here and how the train's rolling. Because, you know, I've been at work all day and I'm like, I've been watching this all day and trying to pick out the best parts. So we'll see.
Miss Boone, Sarah Boone, you said that when he was in the suitcase, he was threatening you. Can you tell the jury what he was saying?
I don't know. Am I allowed to curse?
Yes.
But he was going to fucking end me. And
That was the first time she cursed. And she said, he's going to fucking end me. Wink, wink. Can I curse? He's going to fucking end me. I'm going to play that one more time. This is the first time she curses, y'all. And she has to ask if she can curse.
Can you tell the jury what he was saying?
I don't know. Am I allowed to curse?
Yes.
But he was going to fucking end me. And that's what made me ask him please to stop doing what he's doing to me. That he was going to, I'm guessing, try his best that night to probably take my life.
But what the threat you heard was he's
going to
say the
fucking
word.
end me.
Excuse me?
Fucking end me.
End you?
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes, sir.
Judge, will you approach the bench?
Yes.
All right, we'll fast forward to this part where she's just blinking. Blink, blink, blink. Blink, blink, blink.
Or charge involved and do not or research as the person places things or charge involved and do not have any discussions amongst yourselves or anyone else about those things. We'll bring you back in as promptly as possible. Thank you.
All right.
What we have here is testimony from the defendant. Her timeline is she comes downstairs after having gone up to the shower and hiding, laying down after being declared to be it. She comes back downstairs, and before she gets back to the bottom of the stairwell, she can see that the victim is in the suitcase trying to get flat because the lid is flopping and he's not hidden just yet. And so she comes over, and I believe she testified she was moving it around before actually zipping the lid shut, but moving it around, everybody's laughing. It's all fun and games still. And then she zips it, and it's still fun and games, and everybody's laughing. And then at this point, she testifies that this is now her opportunity to get on her pulpit to express her true feelings about everything. And that's when she sits down on the couch and opens up her phone device and begins recording what later turns out to be IMG _1062.movie at 11:12:45 for 2 minutes and 3 seconds. During this period of time, the decedent is expressing meekly that he can't breathe. The only time he ever curses at her is, Sarah, I can't fucking breathe. Babe, I can't fucking breathe.
All right, so we watched this before. We saw the exact timeline of this because we just watched it. So I'm going to get back to her testifying. This is outside of the jury. Now we're going to be back.
Inside the suitcase.
Oh,
She put the
it's
bat
still
up.
out.
When she realized he was not going to do that any further, she flipped him over right side up. She still had a fear, knowing that if he got out, she would be harmed. He would beat her up. She went upstairs. That is an overt act based on the discussions, coupled with the fact that he threatened her, using the word, I'm going to fucking end it for you, or some words to that effect. I don't remember her exact words, just before she went upstairs while he was still in the suitcase. If she would have let him out, and this is now this is an event involving an omission, failure to act, failure to unzip him at that point, before she went upstairs. The failure to act, the failure to unzip, which would have let him out, which would have created a situation that she believed was
Bullshit.
imminent bodily harm to herself. And I guess I'd get a couple of examples. Let's say that a police officer is called to a
We know it's a bunch of BS, and I think they're still outside of the. Let's see, do they come back? Okay, I got another clip. Let's stop this one. I wanted you to hear this. I wanted you to hear the one of her saying that she hit him with the bat because I didn't want to try to find it. All right, this is where they're talking about the images and her claiming it was abuse.
Objections overruled for now.
You're already together 3.5 years.
Yes.
Is there times when he would get to a state of intoxication where he would get violent against you?
Quite often.
Judge, can I approach the witness?
Yes, as long as you show it to the state first, please.
All right, y'all, here comes the picture. They're gonna start talking about what happened before with no real timeline. It's kind of all over the place. It's like what happened before, not really when, just that it happened.
Defense exhibit for identification P. It's 2 photographs. Could you look at those photographs and see if you recognize those?
I do.
Are those 2 pictures of your body?
Yes.
Did they show injuries to your body?
Yes.
Were those injuries caused by Jorge Torres?
Yes.
Are those photographs a fair and accurate depiction of the injuries you sustained at the hands of Jorge Torres?
On this occurrence, yes.
You remember this occurrence?
I don't. It was so often.
You
Bullshit.
remember a specific date,
I don't.
but you're sure that that's you?
Yes.
Is that the injuries that what's the injury to the rib cage?
I don't remember specifically. These may be the pictures. So when we used to go over to his brother's house, one of his brothers and his
Sustained.
All right, now keep this in mind, and I'm glad somebody brought that up. She should have taken the deal. I haven't really covered this case except on a members only, and this is just when we did this, we were making fun of her trying to get a new lawyer. Absolutely insane. She's done almost 5 years. She could have got a 15-year deal and probably been out in another 5-6 years, and she didn't take the deal. She probably asked to keep the photos. When you see her ridiculous bruises, they're ridiculous. It looks like she bumped herself in jail at some point because there's no timeline. It's just, he did this. We went to his brother's house and he did this time and that. No timeline, no nothing. Absolutely her own worst enemy. Listen for a timeline here and listen for how small and little and meek she sounds.
Do you know what happened did George cause these injuries?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Were y'all both drinking at that time?
I don't remember on this instance.
Judge, I'd like to move this exhibit into evidence.
Okay.
What was pre-marked as P will be received into evidence without objection as Defense Exhibit 2.
I'm not sure I heard this.
Mr. Owens, may I give you time to choose the number, please? Thank you.
Mr. J, would you be so kind? Thank you.
And I need to ask permission to publish it.
Yes, sir. You may do so.
All right, this is nice, Judge.
Looks like I think there's a wheel on the top where you can use to.
Now you guys will get a few pictures. You got a picture of the autopsy when George was laying down. You saw how skinny he was. If we didn't play the part, if the part doesn't come on that talks about Sarah Boone, she says she's 5'2", 5'3", and 100 pounds back then, and George was 103 pounds back then. I don't think she was ever 100 pounds. I do not think that, but I do believe, or she said she was 98 pounds and George is 102, something like that. I do believe they were both toxic for each other, but there's no reason on this God's green earth to do that to somebody, to let them suffocate when you're mad at another time that they did something that you guys always did. They always fought. They always got drunk. They always abused each other. Why do it now? I think that she abused him and she went to bed and didn't care till the next day. Was it accidental that night? Now I'm rethinking it when I hear about the bat, the bruises, the autopsy, going down the stairs. I don't know. I don't know anymore. Yeah, taking the stand. I can't believe she's taking the stand too. I feel like I'm in a dream getting to watch a defendant that's that dumb testify and all the lies over and over and over. It's almost like you could get perjury on her. And that's now why we know the other attorneys didn't take the case, because they didn't want to lie.
There you go.
Is that you?
Yes.
Are those injuries to your arm?
Yes.
Were they caused by Jorge Torres?
Yes.
And during the same incident, is this you?
Yes.
Is that an injury or bruise to your ribcage area
Yes.
and your arm?
Yes.
That could have been anything, by the way, y'all. Maybe it was from that particular thing, but I feel like she just dug up pictures that she took just to say, yeah, look at what he did. But when did this happen, Sarah? When did this happen? Was it right before? Was it the week before, a day before, a year before, 2 years before? When did that happen? Exactly.
I'll show you identification, defense identification Q. See if you recognize that photograph.
Yes.
Is that your thigh?
Yes.
Okay. You remember this incident?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what happened?
I wanted to take my dogs for a walk and get off of the back porch.
Were y'all drinking?
Yes. And he was upset that I would rather go walk my dogs than sit there and continue to drink. So he slapped my thigh as hard as he possibly could and said, "You're not going anywhere." And it was a good smack on my thigh.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the?
Maybe it was foreplay, y'all. He was smacking her thigh. If he'd have moved down, he'd have been smacking that ass. Just kidding. Abuse is not okay, but coming from her, it's just absolutely ridiculous, the things that she says. He didn't punch her in the face or bruise her that day. He smacked her thigh is what she's going to come up with. She didn't have a black eye. I got Melly laughing. Smacked that ass. He smacked her ass, and then it just went down to her thigh. Like I abuse is real. I just really think this is ridiculous to go on trial with. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, she uses her dogs the same way she uses Lucas to make her look wonderful and George look horrible, but really she looks terrible. I'm glad you guys are getting a kick out of smacking that ass. I don't condone abuse, but I don't condone liars either.
The wound that you suffered as a result of George Torres slapping you on the thigh?
Yes.
Judge, I'd like to offer human evidence.
No objection.
What was pre-marked as Q will be received into evidence without objection as defense 3. You may, sir.
And for the jury's sake, is this the photograph you just mentioned?
Yes.
Let's show you identification, defense identification S. See if you recognize that photograph.
I do.
Is that your hand?
Yes.
Is that your blood on your hand?
Yes, it is.
Is that you standing, looks like in a room with flip-flops?
This is in the kitchen at Brian's house.
Okay, what happened there?
So George was very drunk, and I wanted to leave, and he's notorious for taking my car keys and putting them around his neck and my phone in his crotch area and telling me to come get them. And I really wanted to leave because of how drunk, and I knew the escalation of his anger.
You know what, Lucky? I'm not so sure that anything that Sarah Boone said actually happened. I really don't think they were playing hide and seek at all. I really, truly don't. I think something else happened. Something nefarious happened. After this clip, I'm going to show you a quick clip of where she goes and stands next to the suitcase and demonstrates zipping it up. Now, I can be here as long as you guys want. I have Reese at home. I picked her up early today. We're 53 minutes in. As long as you guys keep doing me a favor and hitting the like button, making sure you subscribe. I know we all are tight on budgets, as I am. So if you're tight on budgets, just like, share, subscribe. If you want to gift memberships or get yourself a membership, Friday we're doing an awesome members only. Yeah, we can play a drinking game every time she says something in that little baby voice, or you guys can come up with yeah, the zipper didn't actually work. And they called out because there was a paper clip on it. So the longer you want me here, let me know. We got to get 170 likes. We have 171 people in chat. If you can hit the like button and keep me on here as long as we can, I'll do that. Wes says hello, everyone. If they weren't playing hide and seek, then why was he in there? Well, she had a bat. She was hitting him with a bat. She could have said, hey, get in there. There could have been another reason. I don't think that they were playing hide and seek at all. I think she might have said, get in there, and been messing around with him. And then when he's like, babe, I'm not kidding anymore. But I really doubt the hide and seek thing now. I hope we want more, Jay, and I hope you're not being, I never seen you before, but I hope you guys are being genuine that you want me on here. Nowadays with the trolls, I'm like, it's disheartening. So let's keep going so I don't think about that.
I didn't want
Wes
to be
said
there
hi.
when it was at its peak. So I tried to take my keys from around him because he kept taunting me to take my keys, come get your keys. And so I attempted to go and get my keys. And so he ended up getting a butcher knife. And I had an opportunity to call Brian to come and help me, to please come pick me up, to come get me. And of course, he brings my son with him. And so I'm in the parking lot asking Brian to please help me get my car keys away from him. And there's neighbors, and it's a scene at this point. And George comes to the doorway of my townhome wielding the butcher knife, saying that, do I curse?
Yeah.
That no one's going to take her fucking keys. No one's going to fucking come into this house. And he's waving the butcher knife. And I walked up to him, and I just wanted to leave. And my little son, who was, I believe, 7 or 8 at the time, just is screaming, give mommy her keys, give mommy her keys, let her leave. Brian was even trying to negotiate with him, saying, please, you know she'll come back, just let her leave. So I went up to try and take the keys from him, and he was pulling on them, and I ended up pulling harder. And he pulled them back again to try to pull me in the house, and I pulled them even harder, and it ripped my finger. And at one point, I had lost the fingernail, and the tip of my pinky was severely gashed.
Judge, I'd like to offer this.
She got a paper cut? No. Oh man, what an abusive son of a bitch. You know what? I think that the alcohol did add fuel to the fire. I think they both abused each other. And I think her accusations are absolutely ludicrous. And I think everybody sees right through that. Now, of course, we don't condone pulling somebody's pinky or ripping your finger. I don't condone any of that. But I think that she was just as abusive. She was fatter than Jorge. You can see his arms were like a beanpole, and I'm pretty sure she punked him more than he probably punked her. She probably could pick him up by her shoulder and carry upstairs. All right. Where are the trolls? Grrr. Hello, faith and repentance. Say a prayer for Jay and guilty of crime. That soon everybody that's here just loves us, and we're back to that again, because as soon as you start to hit that 20,000 mark, people start to get angry. But we all love you. We love you anyway. We love everybody. You're welcome on the channel.
Okay.
What was it pre-marked as, Counselor?
Just like S, but metaphorically.
Yep.
What was pre-marked as defense S will be received into evidence without objection as defense 4.
Ms. Boone, for the jury's sake, is this the picture you were referring to? Is that the nail, or is it on? Still on?
I believe so, yes.
Now I'm showing you a composite identification L, 2 photographs. Can you look at those photographs and tell the jury what they are?
I wanted to eat, and while he was drinking, went and made myself, as quickly as I possibly could, a microwave bowl of, I believe it was broccoli and cheddar soup, and I didn't get it out.
All right, listen to this part, y'all. She made herself broccoli and cheddar soup, feeling bad for herself again. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, if I were George and she did the things that she probably did to him, I'd probably throw that broccoli cheddar at her face. But she doesn't say those accusations, and she doesn't give us a timeline. So without a timeline, me as a juror or a potential juror just doesn't do it for me. It's not working for me.
Out enough time, and he came up behind me and he slapped it out of my hand, and it was a 2nd-degree burn. I went to the hospital for it.
Are those fair and accurate depictions of the injury, the burn to your thigh?
Yes.
We'd like to offer identification L in evidence.
What was pre-marked as L will be received into evidence without objection as defense 5. Yes, sir.
You had to go to the hospital as a result of these injuries to your thigh?
Yes,
Okay.
extremely painful.
Is that a depiction of the burn?
Yes.
Is that your thigh
My thigh, yes,
and your knee?
yes.
All right, I'm showing you.
I mean, really, what attorney other than this attorney that got here from an ad, that like a circus ad, would put something up that doesn't have any kind of timeline or foundation to it? We really don't know. We really don't know. Yeah, most of you guys can get second degree burn from a soup or popcorn or anything that you're making, just about, and it's ridiculous.
You composite exhibit for identification. Okay, 4 photographs. Did you look at those all 4 before commenting? This is a longer story, isn't it? Go ahead and tell.
So George stabbed me in my leg. I almost bled to death.
All right, well, let's.
Oh
let's
my
go back
God.
and explain what led up to that.
I thought it would be nice to cook a nice steak dinner. We don't have 2 nickels to rub together, so I thought it would be special to make a steak dinner and make potato and go above the normal whatever's left over in the refrigerator. And so I spent a lot of time doing that, and George was drinking the entire time and on the back porch.
You were drinking as well, were you not?
I was drinking. He was on the back porch while I was in the house and I was cooking.
But let me get back to it, sir. I was cooking. George was drinking, but were you drinking too? Let me get back to it. I was cooking. You're allowed to drink and be angry if you're cooking a steak dinner for your man when you don't have 2 nickels to rub together, sir. Okay, let's get back to testimony.
And it was one of those where maybe if I start making dinner now, it will be over at a particular time and we can go to bed at a reasonable time. And I even put it in the bedroom and had a movie set up for us to watch. So it would just kind of be dinner in bed. And then he came upstairs and saw that I had made the steak dinner, and I don't know how to describe how drunk he was, but it definitely was not George. And had him come lay on the bed, sit on the bed, and, you know, put the, I got the dogs out, and I presented him with the steak dinner and sat down and was getting ready to start playing the movie. And he starts being very rude and cursing the steak and finding fault with it. And then, you know, I'm having to encourage him to eat. You know, if you want me to cut it up for you, I will cut it up for you. Did you want some more sour cream for your potato? What can I do to make you happy?
The stories, please. Now pay attention to the rest of this, and then the next clip where she talks about treating George like a little kid. She paints with them and she colors with them and she does activities with them, and she was running out of activities to do with George like he's a child. Sister Carol Ann Clark, good to see you here. Scary Sherry, I'm glad you're still here. And a steak dinner only means a date night with most partners. Thinking sexy time might be in the cards. I don't think so, because he cursed at the steak.
Happier. And then he started to pull on me and kept saying that, excuse me, that I just want to fuck you on the steak and fuck you on the potatoes. And I took offense to that, and I kept trying to encourage him to eat. I started to
Was
eat.
this just him really drunk and saying nonsense?
I don't know why he was so angry that day. I don't know if it's because I got steak. I don't know. Most of the time I don't know the reason why. I couldn't take it anymore. Obviously I was not going to be able to eat. So I started to crawl off of the bed to leave.
You know what? If someone cooked me a steak dinner, or I cooked them a steak dinner and they were ready to get down and give it up right then and there, I'd be like, let's go. I wouldn't be like, let's eat the steak. I'd be like, let's do it, baby. And then afterwards we can eat the steak. That's perfect timing. I love steak and what George was saying, but just not about her. I think that's all a bullshit story, to be honest with you. And you know, I'm just teasing, but it's so ludicrous what she's saying. She's victim blaming, absolutely victim blaming. He wasn't there to defend himself. Yeah, she just said that he wanted to bang her on the potatoes and the steak. Right, Kels? I'd be like, hey. Now that's really called an alcoholic. Let's go. You just cooked me a steak. Let's do it, baby. I don't think she understands what she did or what she's saying.
Just the bedroom. And he told me again that I'm not going anywhere, and he stabbed me in my leg, and it crunched. You could hear a noise that it made, and blood just started to come out of my leg just like a fountain. So I got off of the bed. He's starting to freak out and grabbed me a towel. I got a wet towel, and I'm sitting here holding the towel, and it's increasingly becoming even more and more saturated by the minute. It's just minutes. So I'm going through towels. And I said, George, I think I need to go to the hospital. This is not stopping to bleed. This is serious. And he got on his knees and begged me, please don't call the police. Please don't call the police. Please don't call the police. And inevitably, he went and got my car keys and put them around his neck again, and my cell phone. So I was not able to call anyone, and I wasn't able to leave in my car. So I figured I would just go downstairs, and I'm just going to go downstairs. And I had propped my foot up on the glass table that we had, and blood is just everywhere. Blood is everywhere. I can't keep up with the amount of blood, and I'm starting to feel very weak and really weird. And he comes downstairs.
And Tom, you're 110% correct. None of this can be proven. Where's the police report that she made her man a steak, and then he said, let's bang on the potatoes, baby? And she said, no. And he stabbed her in the leg, and it was like a fountain. What? That's basically what she just said right now, y'all. She just victim blamed George. Wow. Hello, Miss Lavender. How you doing? Good to see you.
And he's still begging me, please don't call 911. Please don't call 911. I kept telling him, there's something, this is serious. This is something. Because he knew that he would probably get arrested or something bad would happen to him. So I couldn't take him anymore. He was just all over me, and just, I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding very badly, and he's having me try to console him. And I kept telling him, please, I need to call 911, please. And I said, okay, just give me a moment. And I crawled upstairs to my son's bathroom, which is the furthest bathroom away from everything. And I remember holding onto the sink, and I looked into the mirror, and my lips were blue. And I knew I needed help. I needed help. And he came upstairs looking frantic for me, calling my name. And then I turned to him and I said, please, I'm going to die. I've lost a lot of blood. There's something wrong. My lips are blue. Please, we don't have to call an ambulance. If you could just take me, I'll drive whatever I can do, please, to go to the hospital for this. And he said that before anything happens, I had to concoct a story in order for him to not be arrested or be in trouble when we did inevitably get to the hospital. Yep. So I'm sitting there with this blood-soaked towel with blue lips, trying to come up with a story of what I can tell them when I go down there so he's not in trouble, and telling him that it's okay. And I came up with the story of that we were sword fighting silly after drinking with our steak knives, and he accidentally punctured my leg. And from there,
How did you get to the hospital?
originally he told me to drive, and because of the amount of alcohol that he drank, and it was, I couldn't. So he got into the driver's seat and drove me, and the entire time he's barking at me to make sure that I get the story straight. We're sword fighting, okay? We were drunk, you know,
Did you go to
being
the
silly.
hospital?
Yes,
All right, and did you get treated there?
yes. I was bloody, and
All right, let me show you the photograph. I'll show you these. All right, is this a fair and accurate depiction of the injury to your leg?
yes, I had to go to 2 different hospitals for it.
And you lied to,
I really hope they show this because unbelievable. They're playing hide and seek, they're sword fighting, they're painting, they're putting puzzles together, they're drinking, but only a little bit. Let's keep listening. This is just, I can't even believe she testified, y'all. This is going to go down in history, this trial. I guarantee you.
medical personnel about how this happened?
Yes, they brought in sheriffs and everything.
Was it consistent with, they brought in sheriffs? Did you have to answer to the law enforcement officers?
Yes,
Did you stick with the story that you and George had agreed?
I did.
Judge, I'd like to offer this a positive.
Okay.
What was pre-marked as K will be received into evidence without objection as defendant 6.
I can't believe they didn't object. I have to ask my audience, do you think that the prosecution didn't object because these stories are so outrageous? I'm not hearing objections. I'm not hearing them stopping. I'm not hearing them say anything. And then when they cross-examine her, it's almost laughable. Like, I really thought they were going to get up there and just slay her like George did with the Zorro blade, and they don't. So I think that maybe they are just trying to let her crucify herself. Most times they did offer her a deal. She didn't take it, and I don't know. Let's keep listening to her tales.
You may publish, sir.
Thanks.
Aw, she's smiling.
Is this you at the hospital?
Yes.
Is this the stab wound to your leg?
Yes.
Is this a close-up of the stab wound?
Yes.
And was that, did you hurt your foot?
No.
Now, if you see this, now you can't prove anything. So over here, she's smiling. She's posing for a picture. Right here, she's literally smiling for the picture. Hold on. You can see her face. She's like, hey, I'm all good. And then we're going to see this, which you can't verify how that happened. And in hindsight, I'm thinking that happened. To be honest with you, I'm thinking that happened because she was drunk one night and something happened. She either fell or they got really drunk and some kind of accident happened. I do not believe that happened because George said, hey, I want to bang you on this steak and potatoes, and then just stabbed her in the leg like a zombie savage beast. I do not believe that story. And it is gross, but it's something that really adds to the story that just doesn't make sense to me. I've only seen that in zombie movies, that a zombie would just be like, let me stab you and rip it open. It just doesn't. Drunken fall looks more like it to me.
Was that, did you hurt your foot?
No, due to the injury, I had other problems with the surgery.
Okay. But you eventually recovered?
Eventually, yes,
Do you have a scar to that effect?
I do.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
can you step down and show the room?
Mr. J, you may. There's a lock, sir. Out.
All right, I don't know how best to do this, Judge, because we've got this ball.
They can probably see it from there.
Is this the injury here?
There it is.
Looks like there's an admission. All right, I'm showing you identification T.
And I agree. I'm not making fun of abuse. I don't take it lightly. Believe them first. They hit you and you leave. But I don't think that he was the abusive one. I think they abused each other and it ended up her taking his life and she's trying to get out of it. But I'm asking the same question to myself. Did this happen like the day before she put him in the suitcase, or the week of, or the year of, or the 2 years of? How does this get put into evidence? Is this because of the battered spouse syndrome, battered partner? This could have happened 10 years ago. It just doesn't make any sense. Thank you, Miss Lavender. I haven't seen you before. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Thank you. I appreciate you all showing the love. Thank you for being nice today, because otherwise I'm going to run off and cry like a baby. Just kidding.
You recognize that photograph?
I do. Yes,
All right. Looks like you got an injury to your lip and to your face. Do you recall this event?
I was trying to sleep, and
Have y'all been drinking?
I'm not sure. I know that he had been drinking. This was one of the instances where I would go upstairs to try to go to sleep. And
But
he,
y'all drank together a lot, did you not?
sometimes, yes,
But there were times when
Sometimes.
you wanted to stay up and continue to drink and you wanted to go to bed.
many times, yes.
You were done, he was not.
Correct.
Was that one of these times?
Yes.
So tell us what happened.
I'm sleeping in the bed, sound asleep, and he comes into the room and grabs me by my hair a lot of the times. And from here, he scratched me from trying to grab me, and then grabbed my hair and pulled me off of the bed, and then raked my face across the carpet. These are carpet.
You gotta come more often, Cray for Cray Nick. I wear shades because it's so bright in here. So every once in a while you'll catch me with just glasses, but I can't see. Look at I wear thick glasses. That's why. Really thick glasses, and it's bright, so it hurts my eyes. That's why. It's not really unrelated. If you come more often, you'll find out. I love telling new people that.
Burns.
To your lips?
Yes.
What about to the, looks like the eyebrow area?
That's from where from grabbing me, scratched me and got a hold of me by my hair.
Why was he mad at you?
Because I wasn't downstairs with him
He wanted you to be
Right
drinking with
there.
him?
all the time.
All right, I'd like to introduce identification T and evidence.
Who knows?
What was pre-marked as T will be received into evidence without objection as Defense Exhibit 7.
Oh, permission, well,
You may, sir.
do you see the injury between the eyes and the injury to the lip,
Yes.
as you described?
Yes, and then the blood going down my eye, yes.
Showing you what has been marked as exhibit for identification, or defense exhibit. You, for identification,
Yes,
can you describe that photograph?
I can.
Go ahead.
This was the first time that I ever called 911. George and I had gone to a bar across the street within walking distance. And at some point, I asked a guy, or he asked me, somehow or another, it was over a cigarette. And he left, and I didn't know where he went. And the bartender said, oh, he left. He took your car and he left. So,
Why would he do that?
well, I found out when I got home, it was because I spoke to another man. And so
It is, isn't it, Adam? I'm going to stop real quick because I'm still wondering why the heck she doesn't have medical record dates and why we're not going through timelines. But Adam, you know, the lights are not only hot and bright, but they're really, really bright. Like that. Look at how bright that is. I can't see. I'll be squinting the whole time. All right. Yeah. I wish she would. I wish they would make her have a timeline of this. Yeah. They're just pictures. No police reports, no timelines, no officers signing off, no police reports, nothing. Absolutely nothing. It makes no sense. The bar people were probably thinking, oh shit, here she comes again. All right. Let's keep going.
paid the tab, and I walked home, and he's sitting on the back porch with the handle of vodka, and I was walking on eggshells and terrified and kind of treaded lightly when I came in, and he acted all natural and fine. So I didn't know the reason why that he had just gotten up and left with my car. So then he calls me a whore, and then he calls me a slut, and then he calls me a cunt, and gets up and pushes me. And he pushed me with both of his hands so hard that we have this little area where our washer and dryer is, and there are metal doors that are on it. And he pushed me into the metal door. And then I fell back, and he got his knees on top of me on my arms here, so I was pinned down, and was starting to strangle me and hit my head up against the metal closet over and over and over and over and over it again, and calling me a fucking whore and you're such a slut and fuck you and everything. And my tongue was flopping out of my mouth, and I thought I was going to bite my tongue off. And because of the amount of noise, I guess, my head was making on the metal door, he slid me down and got back on me, and then started to strangle me again. And it was on, we have carpet, but it's like concrete. And I was able to get my arms out from underneath and grab his throat and get him off of me. So I got him off of me, and I pushed him off, and he came up and he goes, "You fucking bitch." And he stomped my face. And the next thing I know, I woke up. I obviously blacked out. I'm obviously, I guess, yes. And he was passed out on the floor, and I woke up frantic looking for my phone, and I immediately called 911.
Okay. The police arrived on that incident?
Yes, they did.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of the injury you sustained as a result of him kicking you?
Stomping, yes.
A stomp?
Stomping.
All I saw was his heel.
We ask that this be identification you be admitted again.
Okay.
What was pre-marked as you will be received without objection is defense 8.
Was that the next day, or is that a few days later?
That's a couple of days later.
And that's the bruising from the kicking of the eye?
Yes.
Now, the police will call, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Let me go through these notes. Showing you identification V, defense. Could you recognize that? You have to speak it.
Yes.
Can you identify that picture?
Yes,
Is that your leg?
yes,
And is that was like the injury to your knee?
yes,
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the injury you sustained to your knee?
yes,
Do you remember how that happened?
yes.
Did you tell the jury?
I was trying to get off of the back porch and he grabbed me and pushed me, and it was a rock or a really sharp piece of mold from him grabbing me and pushing me on.
I mean, it did look like a black eye to me. I'm not sure if she enhanced it or what, but I mean, the prosecution is just letting her hang herself, in my opinion. They're not fact checking at this point. It doesn't really sound like she's in court. I've never heard an examination like this. I've never heard anybody just having their attorney talking at them and giving them the storyline, and then them going off on this tangent and showing evidence with no kind of validation, no dates, nothing. So I really do wonder why they. I quit stepping on my dog. My dog is just yelling at me. I'm like, hey. All right, let's listen to her lies some more. In a while, she's going to talk about doing puzzles, and Wes says hello.
Onto the ground, and I guess I just happened to hit my knee just right on whatever it was.
Direct.
Were y'all drinking? Why did
Of
you?
course.
Because I wanted to get off of the back porch.
You wanted to stay out there?
Yes.
He wanted you to be with him? What's the deal with him wanting to be with you all the time?
Security, I guess. I don't know.
Did you do your best to please him?
And then some, yes.
All right, I'd like to introduce the evidence identification date.
Okay.
What was pre-marked as V will be received into evidence without objection as defense 9.
Now, Ms. Boone, were you treated for this, or did you self-treat? Show the jury now.
No, that was just, I got the first aid kit that I had for my son, and I just cleaned it up.
What?
I said I got the first aid kit that I had for my son, and I just cleaned it up and put a Band-Aid on it.
All right, I'm showing you identification W. That's identification. You recognize that photograph?
Yes.
What is that a photograph of?
This is a photograph of my arm.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of your arm with some type of injury?
Yes,
Do you remember this event?
multiple times, yes.
Well, I'm talking about this isolated event where this photograph was taken, the injury you sustained.
Yep.
Who injured your arm?
Jorge Torres.
Do you remember this event?
Yes.
Did you tell the jury about it?
This was one of the instances where I would try to pull away from him, and I don't know how my arm started to do this, but from him pulling from this way, how hard he would pull, with me trying to struggle to get away from him, it would leave these bloody under the skin splotches.
So he wouldn't hit you sometimes, he would just grab you and pull you.
Yes, from me trying to pull away from him, that's the point of it doing this, from me pulling away from him.
Now, this is one of the many times y'all were both intoxicated.
I mean, I can't say for sure that, yes, but whenever it would happen, yes, we would be drinking.
Identification W is evidence.
Okay.
What was pre-marked as W will be received into evidence without objection as defense exhibit 10.
There are no objections ever. And when they cross, it's ridiculous. You got to go cook. I'm going to keep watching, but I'm shutting off my phone. See you all tomorrow. Good night, Scary Sherry. We love you, and you know we do. We'll see you then. All right, let's keep going.
You may, sir.
All right, it doesn't look like a wound or anything.
Objection to commentary.
Sustained.
Tell me, you said it's just from the grip, him losing his grip?
Yes, it would be from me pulling away from him, and whatever under the skin it was that it was disturbed from the amount of pressure of him holding and then pulling from me would create those on my arms.
I mean, I know we're watching this together and we're sitting there saying all this stuff about her. Could you imagine if this were your brother or an uncle or anybody to you, and you had somebody that took your brother's life or your uncle's life or your family's life, and for them to get up on the stand and say these things about them with no kind of foundation, no kind of merit, not even objections from the prosecution, it makes me wonder who's really there for George and what's going on. It just really doesn't. It really doesn't. I just. It's one of those trials I cannot understand. I thought they were gonna slay her, and they're just letting her say whatever she wants.
I'm going to show you Defense Exhibit X for identification.
Yes.
And what is that a picture of?
This is a picture of my ear, side of my head.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction
Yes.
of the injury you sustained by Jorge Torres?
Yes.
Do you remember this event?
Yes.
Were you drinking?
I at the time was not drinking alone.
On this event, you had not consumed any alcohol.
I mean, I may have earlier. This was another. I was in the bed trying to sleep.
Where was George?
Downstairs drinking.
All right, and so you were wanting to go to bed, and he wanted you to stay down there with him?
Yes, I was in the bed.
All right, tell the jury what happened on this event.
I believe this was the instant where I was in the bed and I used to barricade the door with our dresser.
Why didn't you just lock it?
All of the locks were broken in my home.
Why?
They were from George taking them in, including my son's. At one point, I could seek refuge in my son's room, but he broke that one as well.
Well, tell me, explain how that happens. Tell the jury.
Yeah,
We can't read your mind.
George wants me, which he has told me numerous times, that I am to be with him at all times and doesn't like to be apart from me or away from me. So whenever it was even just to go to the bathroom, sometimes he would go with me. And you have to understand, I have a 2-story, 900 square foot townhome, so there's not many places to go. So it just happened to be that it would be upstairs or downstairs, or I'd be in a particular room or not. So inevitably.
Did you want some time away?
Yes, I did. Even if it were just him upstairs or me downstairs or vice versa. So I rarely got to sleep. This was one of the instances because I had barricaded the door.
She is definitely playing the victim. And if she is that much of a victim, folks, and for all of you that do sympathize with her, I think Sadie's mama had some sympathy for her. I saw another lady in chat that has sympathy for her. Understand, I have sympathy for women that are abused, domestic violence, but please leave. Please don't do what she did and put yourself here. All right. So I have absolutely sympathy for domestic violence, women or men or anybody. And hello, Millie. Good to see you. Love you. Hope I get to see you this members only Friday.
With our, 200-pound dresser that we had. And then I had my nightstand barricaded up against the bed, to where it was even more difficult from the prior times of him breaking in. And he would, I don't know how he would ever do it, but he would get himself in through the crack of the door that he would be able to wedge the dresser in the nightstand. And he pulled me out of the bed and told me I was going to die. And I believe it's this incident, and punched me. And
I believe it's this incident, and she couldn't even say incident. So I'm going to show you guys, people, ladies, humans. I'm going to show you real quick the image of her in the suitcase, and then I'm going to go to the next clip that talks about, and if you guys want to hang in there, please hit the like button. I mean, you don't have to hit the like button. You can still hang in here, but hit the like button.
Asked her to interact.
And there she is with the suitcase. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Do share my content. Now that we're covering other cases, that there's not as many people, but you guys are all freaking here. You guys are amazing. You guys are just beautiful human beings. All the locks broken. Come on. All right, let's watch her with this. I don't have the clip in the trial because there's such long pieces, but we're going to get into next where she talks about how much she loved George and all this stuff, playing puzzles, all these things that adults don't really do. Maybe drunk adults. All right, watch this real quick.
With the very piece of luggage at the center of this investigation. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Matt Austin.
I'm Ginger Gadsden. Boone's boyfriend, Jorge Torres.
Oh, dang it. Sorry. I'm going to go back to that. I don't know why that happened. I think because we're at over an hour and a half, and my brain's like, oh, you've been watching Boone all day long. You've been watching Boone, and now you're covering her. Adults with no jobs. Right. You nailed that. All right, let's watch this, and I'll pull up another clip after that.
Asked her to interact with the very piece of luggage at the center of this investigation. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Matt Austin.
I'm Ginger Gadsden. Boone's boyfriend, Jorge Torres, suffocated in that zipped up suitcase back in 2020, but Boone insists she never meant for him to die. News 6's Emily McLeod joins us now live from outside the Orange County Courthouse and breaks down the hours-long testimony from Sarah Boone. Emily, what a day.
Right, Ginger, exactly like you said, what a day. Sarah Boone was on the stand for hours today. The defense asked.
All right, did you guys see that? I don't know if they're going to show her back doing the suitcase thing again. Hold on, I just wanted you guys to see that portion where she puts her gloves on.
For more than 2 hours today, and at one point, prosecutors asked her to interact with the very piece of luggage.
There it is. And while she was interacting with that piece of luggage, folks, she was saying, "Oh, there wasn't a paper clip there. That didn't look like that. That wasn't like that." She was like literally trying to make it seem like that wasn't the same piece of luggage almost. All right, and then there's another. Oh, yeah, we got another one where she talks about drinking wine, playing games, and all right. So this goes to show you here in this clip. Let's watch this. And then we'll go to the next clip. Yeah, she is Boone the Loon. She's odd. Very odd. The suitcase is so small. And that's what I wanted to show you was the suitcase. Because if you look at the size of that and you look at her, George was like a few pounds. Well, I think he was a few pounds heavier. And he was really small too. Samsonite Sarah. Yeah, look at that suitcase, y'all. All right, real quick. And then I'll go to the next clip.
At the center of this investigation. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Matt Austin.
I'm Ginger Gadsden. Boone's boyfriend, Jorge Torres, suffocated in that.
You guys tell me if you think she's just fiddling with that suitcase to make it seem like she didn't know how to use it, that something was wrong with it. She's literally sitting there fiddling with that. Absolutely ridiculous, knowing dang well that she got him in that suitcase, trapped him in there, and then did something. Oh, that's big. Did something to get him to, well, we know she got a bat now, right? So let's keep going. She drank wine, did puzzles, and painted before her boyfriend's taking of his life.
Follow line around noonish. And how did y'all, you took your car?
Yes,
Did George have a vehicle?
we did not.
And how did you pay for the wine?
My debit
Yes,
card.
I thought about that.
And then y'all came
I
back
thought
and
about
started
that.
drinking?
Yes.
Okay, tell us what you did when you got back.
All right, so this is finally leading up to the actual day of his life being taken. All the other stuff was just background and victim blaming. And this is actually her talking about what led up to it. This reminded me, Mai Tai, I love you. I love the crime crew. I love all you guys. It absolutely reminded me of OJ Simpson trying on the glove and me thinking, that glove could have fit him just fine if he wanted to use it. Batshit crazy, acting like Jen Soto. Thank you guys for being here. We have 180 dedicated people here in chat. Thank you so much. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. And if you haven't got a membership, please get one. Or If you want to gift some, you can gift memberships. Let me see if I can gift a few myself. Let's go.
From the public?
Just went on the back porch where we usually spend our time because we're able to smoke cigarettes outside as opposed to inside. And
Is cigarette smoking not allowed indoors? Do you have pets?
yes, I do.
Well, did you have pets?
I did, yes.
Okay. Were they with y'all there that day?
Yes, my dogs were with me all the time when I was there.
How many dogs do you have?
I have 2,
And just what are their names?
Penny and Tess.
And what is the breed?
They are red Boston Terriers.
And are they both disabled?
Yes, Penny is blind and Tess is deaf.
So when y'all went out to smoke on the back porch and drink, I assume as well, correct?
Yes.
Did y'all take the dogs out?
Oh, yes.
Is there a place for them to do their business out there?
Yes, I extended our back porch for them to have a little bit of area as opposed to going from a large backyard from my marital home to our little townhome. And they would come out there and do their business, and I could sometimes I would open the gate and then walk them in the back part of our apartment.
So you and George were just going to enjoy the day together?
Correct.
Is it fair to say y'all don't have a lot of money?
Yes.
And so y'all were going to do something there in the home? Y'all weren't going out for dinner or?
Yes, we primarily, I would consider us homebodies as opposed to going out and partying and doing this and that.
Okay. And how long do you think y'all were out that afternoon outside?
A few hours.
All right. Could you tell the jury what y'all did during that time?
We have a dartboard that's out there, and we just had drinks and we're just really enjoying each other's company and talking about, things upcoming, we both were.
All right, keep this in mind. This is leading up to her locking him in the suitcase and taking his life, hitting him with a bat, nudging him back in there, probably hitting him more with a bat than nudging him. This is what's leading up to it. And earlier, she said that she was scared. She was hiding in the bathtub from him. She was afraid of him. She was all that. Absolutely ridiculous. Thanks, her 8 lawyers. She wanted a chance to speak. She got it. She should have kept her mouth shut. Absolutely. And she's still incriminating herself. Thank you, Rosie, for getting the train going. I appreciate that. And all of you for everything you do every day. Thank you. Loyal crime crew members.
We're looking for a job and just kind of, I guess, encouraging and supporting and planning. And
Well, now you said he had a job. Was he looking for a job, a second job?
no, the job that he had was very unstable. And at that,
So he was looking for something new.
yes, at that time, yes.
Okay. And so during that 2 or 3 hours, would it be fair to say that y'all drank the bottle?
Yes.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that y'all were feeling the effects of the alcohol?
Yes,
Okay. At some point, who made the decision to come in?
I did.
Okay. Why did you want to come in?
I felt that George needed a change of scenery.
Okay. So y'all came in and then did y'all do anything else before he left again? Were y'all doing anything? I know y'all did some arts and crafts. What did y'all do? At some point, he went to get another bottle at Publix.
Yes. After, I believe it was after it was right before I believe that we had gone inside. Because he called his daughters. I was trying to encourage him to call his family.
Okay, now where are his daughters?
His 2 daughters are located in Pennsylvania.
And what are their names?
Anna and Destiny.
And how old are they?
I believe that Anna is in her 30s and Destiny may be in her early 20s.
All right. Does he have any more children?
Yes, he has a son.
And what is his son?
He is in Pennsylvania also.
So part of that afternoon is y'all came in to call relatives, call family.
No, I had him call outside, just trying to, I guess, boost the mood. And the first daughter didn't answer, and I don't remember the reason I didn't speak to the second one. I believe he did. It was just for a moment.
All right, and whose phone we are using?
My phone.
All right. And is that common for y'all to use that, for y'all to share that phone?
It was because George said that he didn't have a phone. So it would either be lost or given to him by his mother.
I'm sure his phone was lost when he was around her because of all the girls he was talking to. Yeah, that's interesting that she said that. And I caught that too about Cray, Nick. Isn't that the judge's name? Georgia's 32 and she's in her early 30s. I was going to say that too. What was he, 12? He probably was like 15 or 16. But yeah, definitely interesting that she says that she's bigger than him. And I've heard her say she doesn't drink so many times. She actually says that. But then they only fight when they drink, but they always drink. And you're right, Sue, they were both horrible drunks. She just contradicts herself. And right now, this is leading up finally to the actual taking of George's life.
So I didn't know he had a cell phone, so we would use my phone.
So it was primarily your phone?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And you took a lot of photographs that were on that phone?
We still don't really
Yes.
know.
Videotapes,
Yes.
text messages,
Yes.
phone call.
He and I both on the phone calls.
So he would use it as well.
Yes.
And that phone, is that the one that was seized in this case?
Yes.
All right, so y'all called his daughters, and then during that phone call period, did you also call his brother?
Yes.
Okay, and which brother was that?
John.
All right, now, how many brothers and sisters does George have?
I'm gonna list them if that's okay.
Okay.
It's John, Pharrell, Isaac, Mo,
She's so gross.
and his sister.
Okay. And do they all live here in Florida?
Yes.
Are they close by?
As far as I know, yes.
What about his parents?
Yes.
They live here as well?
Yes.
Okay. But his ex-wives and his children live up in Philadelphia?
Yes.
Okay. So you called the girls, then you called, or George called his brother.
Yes.
Was that conversation that long?
No, it was not.
And then after that phone call, were y'all inside by this time?
Yes, at this point, I believe that it was.
The only person that actually was involved in any of this, and they had her on the news, was his grandma. I think the grandma raised him because I haven't seen any of his children in the media or at the trial. I don't know for sure. Someone can correct me because I haven't been watching every second of the trial, but throughout this whole 5 years, I haven't really seen anyone that backed him up. I haven't seen family doing any of that. But rest in peace, George. We hope that she gets what she deserves. I hope that we get justice for George. Microwave Cheese, thank you so much. I'm still trying to figure out what George saw in her. She has no attractive qualities. And she seems like a gaslighting lady. Like she just walks in the room and gaslights every person she talks to. Thank you so much. I appreciate the $20 super chat. You're amazing, Microwave Cheese. I love you. I don't know what anybody, she looks like a St. Bernard.
Was a good time to get a change of scenery. So I thought George would be better off inside. And frankly, I didn't want to be outside any longer either.
Okay.
Come in,
So
honey.
just to get an idea, about this time is when he went to get the second bottle, or did y'all stay inside for a while before he left?
No, from what I recall, I thought the day was over and it was going to be get ready for the evening, for the day. What do you want for dinner? Do you have an extra load of laundry that you need to throw in? kind of thing. And that was my understanding. And
This was about 5-ish or something?
I don't remember the time.
Okay. At some
No
point
timeline.
during that time period, did George go to Publix again?
Yes, I thought he was going to be walking to the convenience store, but apparently when he returned, he had gone across the street with my car and my debit card to buy another bottle of wine.
What was your understanding of where he was going?
To the convenience store, walking,
For what?
cigarettes.
And you learned obviously that he came back and you learned that he'd used your vehicle
Yes,
and he'd used your debit card
yes,
and he'd brought back a bottle of wine from Publix.
right,
And you saw the Publix video of that.
yes.
So he comes back with the other bottle of wine, and did he want you to drink with him?
It was expected, yes.
Yes. And you agreed to consume the
It
wine,
was
the second
expected.
bottle with him.
Yes.
So over the course of that evening, drinking the wine, what did y'all do for time-wise? Watch a movie, music, just kind of tell the jury what you remember. I know it's obviously been a while, but
Or finally leading up to when that happened, y'all. And he made her drink. She didn't want to drink. She didn't want to drink that mega sized wine, but he made her drink. And then this got out of control. And she said, "For all the things you did to me, George, it was his fault."
It was kind of a regular thing where I would always try to come up with
Right?
entertaining activities for George. And I bought a puzzle. We started off at one point doing a smaller puzzle, and then we did that very quickly. So then I purchased a larger puzzle, and I believe it was 1,000 pieces. So I thought to get his mind off of things and to focus on something, it would be smart for us to do the puzzle. So for however long that took, we finished the puzzle. So that was one.
did you every piece was finished or was it?
Every piece was finished. It was strange that we couldn't find one piece, and we thought it was funny that it was like in like the perfect place on there. But yes, every one but one piece.
All right, after the puzzle, what did
So she could remember the puzzle and the things that they did and little games that they played, but she can't remember the important things at all. Like nothing. And she's thinking about it.
what did y'all do?
I decided to continue to maintain and focus him, and I have a bunch of paints that I used of my son's that his grandmother bought him. It's a very big art wooden box, and it's got pastels, pencils, paint, any kind of whatever. And he and I were very much into art, and with this resource, it got him very interested in being more creative.
How long have you been into art?
Ever since I can remember. As a child,
You like to draw?
I like to do anything artistic.
And I know,
Oh.
we saw some of the pictures of your apartment, but it looks like there was pictures and artwork up. Is that all your work and George's work?
The majority of it, yes, are belongings from my home. And then also
Yes.
some of George's, yes, on the wall.
Was he pretty good at art as well?
Yes,
All right, so you both enjoyed doing that.
very much.
So y'all got out Lucas's art set. What did y'all do with that?
We were just, I guess, doodling, whatever. I would always tell him that everything that you make is a masterpiece. So just let loose and just let it go. And we would just paint and
And
No.
drink?
paint and drink, yes, and listen to music sometimes, and yes.
Paint
Now with
and
the
drink.
dogs, did y'all get the dogs involved?
Oh, yes, my dogs follow me everywhere, yes.
Was there some dancing going on with the dogs?
Yes, after we had completed the puzzle and I guess we're painted out, I thought that it might be a good point for us to maybe listen to some music. And the music that George listens to is it's very fractious to me, and it was definitely not going to lighten the mood. So we ended up finding some channel on the radio, and he was feeling it. And then we ended up, my one dog gets very active and was dancing with us, and we were just having a good time listening to music.
So gross.
I guess it's getting pretty late in the evening.
Yes.
Anything else I've missed?
I don't believe so.
All right. So tell us where y'all ended up before you started the game.
30?
We were there. I couldn't think of anything else possibly that I had to continue entertainment. But I remember sitting at the end of the couch and him sitting in one of my son's chairs that was in the living room, and just kind of doing this. Like, what are we going to do now? Like, I very much would like to go to sleep.
Had y'all finished off the that bottle that he had bought?
No, they didn't finish it off. Her alcohol level was 2 times what it should be the next morning. I'm sure they finished it off. And yeah, Sarah, was it rap or metal? What do you mean by fractious? What does that mean? And what, George gets bored and you have to entertain him? Oh, this is such... DA comes in hot. All right, we're almost done with this, and then we'll get to that part. I feel like I wish they were hotter than that, but we'll do it. Hit the like button, y'all.
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Bless you.
Would it be fair to say that as the
Bless
day
you.
wore on, the more y'all consumed?
Yes.
All right. And would it be fair to say that as the day wore on, the more you consumed, the more effects you felt from the alcohol?
Of course, yes.
Both of you.
Yes.
Of course.
So you would agree, would you not, that at the time y'all were trying to figure out something to do and you put your head on the couch, that would it be fair to say that y'all were intoxicated?
Yes.
Tell the jury what happened.
At one point, I guess he knew that I couldn't come up with anything else, tapped me on my knee and said, "You're it." So from there, I ran up the stairs and hid into our shower, just waiting for him to find me so we could hopefully go to sleep soon at some point. And
Your shower, is it a tub or just a walk-in?
it's a tub, but it's in the master bedroom, and you have to go all the way upstairs. You have to go in the bedroom, and then you have to go into the bathroom part, and then there's the shower part.
So did you lay down in the tub?
At one point, yes, I was.
So you were hiding?
I was trying.
Okay. And did you believe that he was going to come try to find you?
See, this doesn't make sense because she says she's hiding. This is absolutely ridiculous. But in other instances, she said they were having such a lovely day. That makes no sense that she was hiding in the bathroom. Yeah, it does get worse. These are clips, so I don't know how much I'm going to play of this, how much more. But do hit the like button. We have almost 180 people in chat. Thank you.
Yes.
Did you wait?
Yes, for quite some time.
All right. Then what did you decide to do?
That I decided that I need to go to sleep. I'm picking my son up the next day, and we need to start wrapping up the evening. And I went downstairs to find where he was.
There it is. And they stopped it. They stopped it. All right. I'm going to go ahead, since they did that, I'm going to go ahead and go on to the cross-examination. And they don't have clips of this, so I'm going to have to find the spot real quick. Let's find it.
When I originally met him, and I knew that
Hold
wasn't
on.
him still. I knew that it could be found, and I just couldn't figure out what it was that I was doing wrong in order for it to not be back to where that was. And I was tired of living in fear and just sick all the time of
I'm tired too.
figuring out how I can entertain him so I don't die, and continue a relationship with my son and try to live a normal life. That wasn't a normal life for me. And just, I bottom line is I didn't want to die.
Did everybody watch the cross-examination? Because I know everybody's tired. All the mods are tired. Everybody's like, we're almost at 2 hours. I can do the cross-examination on a different day if you guys want. Sorry, Synth. If you're tired, go ahead. I can watch this for a little while. I definitely listen to this all day. Let me know in chat.
I would have died, or I would have been disfigured or maimed, or if it weren't me with the bat, it would have been him if he were to have gotten out.
Sorry. All right.
Any
Cross-examine.
cross-examination?
Here it is, y'all. Hit that like button. It's cross-examination. If you guys need to go, thank you, Bree, for being here. I love your picture with the witch on it. It's awesome. All right, let's listen to Cross.
George know somebody named Crystal? Did you ever mention Crystal in your text messages about being one of his bitches?
One of his bitches.
Don't know. I don't remember.
How about Christine? Did George know a Christine?
I don't know.
How about a Pamela Erickson?
These may have been people that he was communicating with on whatever the platform was.
On your phone?
I believe so, yes.
And did you find these communications?
I believe I found one or two of them from some of them.
And did you send a long letter to his family to relay to him about?
All right, keep in mind, this is cross-examination. I'm turning the volume way up because she sounds like a little girl now. We can play a drinking game, and every time she sounds like a little girl, we'd be drunk. Let's listen.
George and his girls that he was cheating on you with.
I believe so.
Okay, so you do know those names, right?
I don't remember them. It's been however long.
Okay. Now, on February 24th, 2020, you called 911 at about 1 p.m., correct?
Yes.
And at that point, you were still feeling a little intoxicated, were you not?
It was more shock, but yes.
So you agree that you previously stated, I was still, I believe, intoxicated to a degree?
To a degree, yes.
So 1 p.m., it's about 14 hours after 11 p.m. the night before, correct?
I'm guessing so.
Well, 12 hours prior would be 1 a.m., and then 12 a.m. is 13 hours, 11 p.m. is 14 hours, correct?
Okay.
And you were present here for the medical examiner, Dr. Zydowiczz, to testify, correct?
Yes.
And you heard her talk about all the effects of ethanol that has on the human body, correct?
Yes.
And she also mentioned something that it, on average, dissipates at about 0.015 an hour. Do you recall that?
I believe so.
So would it be fair to say that if you're still feeling the effects of the alcohol at 1 p.m., so that's 14 hours, 0.015, you were at approximately about a 0.21 at 11 p.m. the night before. Do you feel like you were 2.5 times the legal limit at that time?
I don't know how you came to that number.
Judge, I'm going to object.
Approach.
I'm still here. All right. Sorry about that. I want her to speak up. I had to go check on Reese, everybody, so I hope you're still here. There we go. She's looking at the jury. Yes, she is. Thank you.
Okay. But you did not tell us earlier today that he had been angry throughout the day.
Yes.
You described your entire day of doing puzzles, and arts and crafts, and outside by the dartboard, and you said it was a wonderful day and everything was fun until he was in the suitcase. Did you not testify to that earlier today?
I did.
My
I
specific
did.
question between these two movies is, this is when he begins to get angry and trying to push his way out and to get out of the suitcase, correct?
Angry again, yes.
And he was expressing his anger in what?
She never said that. She never said that. And I didn't know she was, I don't know what she did for a living. I think she drank most of the day, lived off of child support, and who knows what else. But if anyone knows exactly what she did for a living, let me know. Now they're here, not in court. She doesn't know how to look at clown. All right. Cross-examination. They're calling her out.
Manner. How did he say this?
At which point throughout the day?
Ma'am, you know very well that I'm talking about between these movies. Please answer my question. Between these two movies, how did he express his anger with you?
Ma'am.
He told me that I was going to fucking die.
Okay. Now this is happening after he's already told you several times he cannot breathe in the suitcase, correct?
Correct.
And he's been in there for whatever brief amount of time it took you to zip him up, and the laughter stops, and then you go over and begin to film, correct? And you're filming, your purpose of filming is to kind of teach him a lesson. This is your chance to say something to him when he can't say anything back to you, correct?
No,
Then correct me.
there was no lesson to be learned. It was just I wanted him to try to understand how I felt, so maybe he could.
That sounds like a
progress in
lesson.
being a better person the next day.
Huh?
So you wanted him to understand how you felt in the past, and that's not teaching a lesson?
Right?
I just wanted him to understand.
All right, and so immediately prior to zipping him up and putting him into the movie, you had been upstairs, correct?
I'm sorry.
Immediately before coming down and zipping him up and then filming the first of the two movies, you had been upstairs in the shower, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to publish what has been labeled as image_1061, which according to the timeline was captured at 11:03 p.m. 31 seconds with her device.
She acts like she didn't do anything wrong. She wasn't teaching him a lesson. Nothing was happening. Nothing to see
All right.
here.
Does this appear to be the suitcase that's in question in the two movies that are filmed at 11:12 and 11:23 p.m.?
And if you guys want to go watch the whole thing, you can just go to Law and Crime. You don't have to go to anyone's channel. It's like an 8-hour day. So go to Law and Crime, hit play, and just watch it through, take a nap. I only played key parts of it, and now I'm playing the rest of the cross. So yeah, I didn't have time to sit here for 4 hours.
This is image 1061 taken at 11:03 p.m. 31 seconds. Does this appear to be the blue suitcase that's in the two videos that were captured at 11:12 and 11:23 p.m.? Did you take this image at 11:03 p.m.?
She doesn't remember.
If I did or not.
And again, we had, and by we, I mean you and Mr. Torres, 2 1.5 liters bottles of wine and plus whatever was left over from the day before, correct?
Correct.
So you don't remember taking this photograph?
I don't.
Do you remember whether or not Mr. Torres was in here?
Lie.
I don't remember taking the photo.
Okay. So
Lie.
what is your memory of what happens between 11:03 p.m. and 31 seconds when that image is captured, and then when the movie starts at 11:12:45? What do you remember?
I don't.
Do you remember anything from that night?
I do.
You told the police on February 25th, 2020, when they first showed you the video, that you didn't remember. taking
Yes.
that. Remember that?
I do.
And your testimony is you do remember taking that video,
I do.
but you don't remember taking that photograph 9 minutes prior.
Correct.
Is there something, did you have more to drink in those 9 minutes?
I did not.
Was Mr. Torres in that suitcase the entire time between 11:03 when that image was taken and then when the second video was taken at 11:23 p.m.?
I believe so, yes.
So for
I
20
believe
minutes?
so.
Yes?
However long the time frame is,
Did he begin telling you that he couldn't breathe before the video, or do you not remember?
I don't remember.
Of course she doesn't.
Now, you testified moments ago that your two neighbors must have misremembered which night the loud noise was, correct?
Yes.
And now you're telling us that you don't remember taking the photograph at 11:03 p.m., correct?
Correct.
Did the
Wow.
police come out to your townhouse on Sunday, February 23rd, 2020?
Yes.
I'm talking about Sunday. This is the Sunday fun day when we're going to Publix twice. Were the police out of your residence?
I said doing that.
It was the day after, Monday, the 24th, correct?
Yes.
And that Monday morning, you called 911, well, Monday afternoon at about 1 p.m., correct?
Yes.
And between
Uh-oh.
that time frame, you were the only person in your apartment plus Mr. Torres in the suitcase, correct?
Yes.
So if anything had been disturbed in your apartment, you had all the time that you wanted to undisturb them before calling 911, correct?
If I wanted to.
Okay. And you still, your testimony is there was no loud boom that shook the walls of your townhouse at about 11 p.m. the night of February 23rd, 2020, correct?
Correct.
To the best of your memory, correct?
Correct.
No memory. She doesn't have a good memory.
Now, that second video is 22 seconds where you just hear him say Sarah and you don't say anything, or you're familiar with that video, correct?
Yes.
It's after that that you go upstairs, correct?
Yes.
How quickly is it that you go upstairs
Dun,
after that?
dun.
It was pretty quick.
Can you grab the dogs?
No, the dogs were upstairs already.
Okay. Did you call 911 and let the police know that you had zipped somebody shut in a suitcase and they had not been able to get out for 20 minutes?
Nope.
I did not.
Did you go to Brian's house and tell him, I had to zip Mr. Torres up in a suitcase shut? We need to do something about that before he passes.
I believe that's what the phone call was.
Okay. Well, what do you remember now about the phone call with Brian?
Speak up,
I
lady.
know that I called him. I don't know specifically what it was about.
Now, your testimony, it seems like you spend day after day finding things to entertain Mr. Torres to do, correct?
Yes.
Almost like having a child. You have your own child, correct?
I do.
What you described sounded like having a small child. Would you agree?
That's your interpretation.
Well, you take him from doing arts and crafts to doing puzzles, so on and so forth, correct?
When he's been drinking, yes.
Which is all the time when you're drinking too.
And Mr. Torres was notorious for doing some of these things, correct?
What do you mean?
Well, you described Mr. Torres as being notoriously known.
This part's funny, y'all. Listen up, because it's hard to hear her now that she's not so confident with her lawyer narrating this for her. She talks real low. The prosecutor is going to ask her what she's notorious for, since everybody's notorious for something. What are you notorious for? And she doesn't know how to answer.
Known for doing things. You described your ex-husband, Brian Boone, notorious for doing things like nagging and calling all the time. You remember your testimony calling people notorious for doing things?
Yes.
What would you say people would say you're notorious for?
I don't know.
And you would not answer Brian Boone, your ex-husband's phone calls, just so that you could let him know that you're busy and you have things going on, correct?
I knew that at whatever time it was that he was calling me, that he could wait for the few moments of me getting up to where Lucas gets out of school at 3 o'clock.
Okay. But you wouldn't return his call. You would let him call several times, correct?
That day, yes.
Okay. How about other days? Would he have to call to remind you to get Lucas on other days?
He wasn't reminding me. He was just making sure that Lucas was covered for a pickup or drop off.
All right. You didn't mention to the sheriff's office on either February 24th or February 25th about going to Publix with Mr. Torres at noon or 12:17, did you?
I don't recall.
School.
The best evidence of that would be the recording of those interviews.
Correct.
I think
Did you
she's
not
getting
remember going
tired.
to Publix with Mr. Torres that day?
At what point?
At any point?
No, I didn't.
Yes.
You had indicated to the police that it was about 4 p.m. that you all had started drinking after doing chores. You recall that?
I do.
And your testimony today was that it was really more after you guys went to Publix at about 12:17 p.m., correct?
Yes.
And you did not tell the truth to the police, correct?
I'm sorry.
You did not tell the truth to the police about that, correct?
I did not.
And when they were asking you about Mr. Torres's injuries, you told them that you had nothing to do with it, correct?
Yes.
And that was not the truth.
Correct.
Correct. I lied. Just cuff her.
What did y'all have for breakfast on the 23rd?
I don't remember.
Did y'all have
Potatoes?
lunch?
I believe we had leftovers from, I think, something that we had in the fridge.
And do you recall what those were?
Not at this point, no.
And then I believe you mentioned having a sandwich of some sort for dinner.
No, I believe it was for, I'm guessing he and I ate at the same time.
What'd you eat, lady?
And
Then I got
at
high.
one point, Mr. Torres called his brother Juan, correct? And do you admit that you were yelling in the background, telling Mr. Torres to tell his brother that he had been choking you?
I don't know if I was yelling. I know that he could hear me through the phone.
So how long had that been going on that day? When did you start getting on Mr. Torres about choking you in the past?
He and I had conversations about it because he didn't remember doing it to me. And
What?
the next day and the day of,
Is it fair to say that there are just points in time where you don't remember what you do either, correct?
are you talking about almost 5 years ago?
I'm talking about from drinking. Is it fair to say that you don't often remember things that you did while you were drinking?
I would not say often.
Okay. In the course of your relationship with Mr. Torres, are there things you don't remember happening that happened the night before between you and him?
I can't say that at this point.
Of course you can't.
But you said that you don't remember taking that photograph at 11:03 p.m. on February 23rd, correct?
Yes.
Was there anything else that you were telling Mr. Torres that he needed to tell his brother?
Not that I can recall.
Was there anything
course
you were
you can't.
telling him that he needed to tell his daughters?
Not that I could recall. She looks like she's gonna cry. She is too stupid. An absolute clown.
Now, you indicated that Mr. Torres would use your phone to look at pornography.
Correct.
Were there ever any points in times when it was you that was used looking at pornography?
If I was, it was to go back and look to see.
To see what, lady?
Did you ever threaten to get Mr. Torres arrested if he did not do what you wanted him to do?
Of course she did.
I wouldn't say threaten.
Okay.
I did it.
Well, were there ever points in times where you would like him to call you or return a call? And if he didn't do that, you would threaten to get him arrested?
It depends on if he had my keys or something that I needed from him.
And
She
it was
looks
your
defeated.
Townhouse, correct?
Mine, yes. Flush hours.
When did you get him off the lease?
I'm not sure what year it was, but I don't think he was actually removed from the lease.
Okay.
I think he was made a different type of tenant.
And did you change the locks so that he couldn't get back in at the points in times when you kicked him out?
I did sometimes.
And then would you leave the key in the hiding spot that he was aware of?
She's dumb.
There were multiple hiding places.
On any of the 911 calls, did you ever mention that Mr. Torres was aware of where you kept your keys and that's how he got back into the house?
I didn't know I needed to.
Too bad she
I'd
didn't.
never break into my home.
Yes. He wouldn't break into your
Right, it's
home.
your testimony that you did not push him down the stairs, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, it was him that dragged you down the stairs the night before, correct?
Yes.
Now, by dragged, did you leave your feet?
Yes.
And did you get scrapes on your knees or anywhere from the carpet?
I'm not sure.
Did you get any injuries like bruises or abrasions or scrapes?
I was missing a lot of my hair. Yes, that was on the stairwell.
And you agree that you were photographed on February 24th when the police came out, correct?
The day of the incident?
Well, the afternoon after the incident. We're not sure when he passed.
Yes.
Oh,
Some of those photographs showed ashtrays inside your house. I thought you said you guys couldn't smoke inside your house,
oh, got you.
but you did, right?
Sometimes, yes.
And you agree you would go to the hospital and tell them things that were not true, correct?
Yes.
There were times where you would go to the hospital and leave without getting treatment, correct?
Yes.
And is it fair to say
What?
that you often had alcohol in your system when you were going to the hospital, correct?
Sometimes.
Wow.
All right, so just to summarize the day to make sure we understand it. You all wake up sometime in the morning, but it's an unknown time, correct?
No timeline.
On February 23rd.
Or early afternoon. Yes, I had a problem with the detectives and them having me guesstimate times.
Okay. Are you the kind of person like most of us that uses your phone when you wake up? So the first activity on your phone may have nothing to do with when you woke up. Is that fair for you?
Yes, other than looking at the time possibly.
Okay. So at some point you wake up, it doesn't sound like you have breakfast, correct?
Correct.
You do some chores, correct?
Yes.
So that is true. That part of it is true. You did do chores before going to Publix at 12:17?
Yes.
All right. After chores, you go to Publix and you get that 1.5 liter Magnum bottle of Woodbridge Chardonnay, correct?
Magnum.
1.5 liters. Instead of the 750s, it's the double size. It's like 2 bottles of wine.
Okay, yes.
So you got a 1.5 liter, right?
Yes, it is the larger bottle.
And you got home and you at 100 pounds and Mr. Torres at 103 pounds began drinking this wine, correct?
I'm guessing so. I'm not going to guess times.
Well, don't guess. I mean, you got home from Publix. When was your first drink?
I'm not sure.
That morning?
We could have continued to do whatever was left over from what we didn't do before we went to Publix.
Okay. So you may have started drinking even later, correct?
She stole my day too, y'all. So do me a favor, like Carly said, and hit that like button. I just got to get in this, and then I'm going to need a break from Sarah Boone, y'all. Oh, I'm glad we're getting it done today because she's driving me nuts.
And
12:30 when you get back from Publix?
I don't know.
Okay. Was it 1:30 or 2:30 when you began drinking?
I don't know.
All right. Was
What do you
it
mean you
before any of
don't
the
know?
phone calls to the brothers and his daughters?
Yes.
And so you drink what's left in the bottle of wine from the day before that's halfway labeled, correct?
At some point.
And then you
Let's
drink
listen to that.
1.5 liters of wine, and he goes out and gets another one on his own without your permission or suggestion about 5:30, correct?
Correct.
And then you all consume that one as well, and it ends up in the trash can at the end of the night, correct?
Apparently.
Apparently.
At what point in the night does your memory tape stop? You described that it wasn't on at 11:03 p.m. when that photograph was taken. What's the last thing you actually do remember prior to these videos being made?
We're almost done.
I don't recall it at this point. I don't remember.
Speak up, lady.
All right, and so it ends in hide and seek after arts and puzzles, correct? He says, tag, you're it, but you run and go upstairs and hide, right?
Yes.
So does that mean he's it and he's supposed to come find you?
No.
Okay. So you both hide.
No.
Okay. How does this work?
Oh, man.
I don't know how to tell you.
Okay.
I was.
This is the moment we've been waiting 5 years for, folks. This is them playing hide and seek. All right, let's listen, and then we can get the heck out of here.
And I went ahead.
I mean, my understanding of the rules of hide and seek is one person will be it, cover his or her eyes and count to like 20 and then go find the person that's hiding. Is that your familiarity with the rules too, or you guys have house rules?
I understand how the
Okay.
game of hide and seek
So
works.
explain to me, what was your expectation? You go up to the shower. Were you expecting him to come find you?
I was.
Okay. And after a while,
She
he did
said
not
she
come
was-
find you.
What?
Yes.
And that's when you return downstairs.
Correct.
And because of the way your townhouse is set up, you can kind of see over where the suitcase is and that he's trying to hide in there, but it's not successfully hidden just yet.
I mean, yes, you have to come down a good ways in order to be able to
Right.
do that.
But you saw, you testified those before you got to the bottom.
Yes.
And then you come over there and thinking that it's funny, you zip him shut, correct?
Yes, we both thought it was funny.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Enter into the well?
Yes.
Yes.
Go down.
Deputy, could we release her into the well, please?
Here it is. Well, here it is, y'all. So this is what I showed you earlier. They're not really saying anything. This is the moment of the O.J. Simpson gloves. So they're going to bring out the suitcase now, and they forget to tell her to put gloves on. So look at the size of that suitcase. It doesn't really matter what he's saying right this second. I showed you earlier. Yes, here comes the fiasco. Here's what we've all been waiting for. All right. Yeah, she feels confident, but look at the size of that. It's tiny. Let's see what happens. We'll watch the moment of the OJ glove. That's what it's equivalent to.
All right. Ms. Boone, can you demonstrate to the jury where Mr.
Get in.
Torres' head was and how his body was positioned in the suitcase, if you don't mind? All right, and then is it fair to say his feet are kind of down here, which would be the front left corner from their perspective in the jury box?
Yes.
And then his knees are kind of tucked up towards his face.
If I remember correctly, yes, that's the position.
Okay. All right. Can you help me understand how it was that you zipped it shut?
Can you get in?
Where you say you left an opening that his hand got out of?
Would it be easier to put it down here?
I didn't want to make it go down there. If you're happy doing that, I like it.
Get down, get down, get down.
She need to be wearing gloves.
Agreed. If she's going to be manipulating it.
Bend over. Get in, get in, get in, get in.
Just demonstrate how she zipped it shut.
Look.
Okay, well, where's the paperclip? And do you remember what it was in?
This side.
I would make her get in. I'd say, let's see what happens. Get in so we can see what size. Look at how she's distancing herself. Look at her body language. She's definitely distancing herself from it. Like she doesn't know how to act around a suitcase, y'all.
When we pulled the suitcase out earlier, the paper clip was not attached. So now the prosecutors attached the paper clip. We don't know if that's the way it was attached. We don't know if that's the proper way that it was attached, but he's asking her now to pull.
Is there an objection?
Yeah.
Yes.
Approach.
Oh, man. This is ridiculous, y'all. All right. I'm going to go forward because I'm getting tired.
But you remember.
No, hold on. Hold on. What happened? Come on. I can't get it. All right. She didn't really do anything. Get back on the stand. She didn't get in the thing. She distanced herself. That's it.
Ms. Boone.
Oh, he put himself in
The
there.
question that you poked him, and you didn't poke it. You poked every time you poked him hard with the bat. He was inside the briefcase, the suitcase. But you remember when he put his hand out? Did you not hit him in the hand outside the suitcase?
Yes.
Okay. So that was the only time the bat touched Mr. Torres's body outside the suitcase.
Yes.
Was when you hit him with a hand. But all the other injuries were with you poking him pretty hard. I mean, you bruised your hand, correct? Doing that. Thank you.
That's all. Mic drop.
Ma'am, you can return to counsel's table.
Oh, we're done. Oh my God, that was the worst. I hate Sarah Boone. Justice for George. I love you guys. Thank you guys for being here for 2 hours and 33 minutes. Thank you for the super chats, super stickers, likes, subscribes, all that. Please do share if you like the way I present true crime and you like style, class, and a little bit of humor. we know when to bring the humor in. You know why? Because certain cases can have humor, others can't. So I love you all. Thank you for being here. Love you, Wendy, Marilyn, Carrie, Lucky, Faith and Repentance, Rosie. I have a special one for you all tomorrow to break up the monotony of another trial day for Sarah Boone. So I'll have something really interesting for you, and we'll have a good time. All right. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?